Welcome to Get Set Glow. It's the podcast for business leaders and marketeers. And welcome today to Roger Walker. Hi there, thanks for joining us. Roger is the co-founder and chief experience officer at Experience Hampshire. And today we want to find out a little bit more about Roger's background, Experience Hampshire, and what branding means to him. Right, Roger, could you just introduce yourself a little bit, tell us about your background and the company now?
Okay, so I'm Winchester born and bred, Hampshire born and bred. So I've lived here for most of my life. I have to say I've drifted off and done other things over the years, travelled for 8 or 9 years around the world doing various jobs. But I ended up having gone through a sort of outdoor pursuits training. So I used to teach sailing and kayaking things down at Calshot Activity Centre, actually.
I know.
In Solent. And then I got into skiing and subsequently ended up working for a ski company, and from there set up my own travel business. So originally a travel agency, and subsequently I teamed up with a pal and we set up a ski business. So we were taking around 3,000 people a year from the UK out to France and Italy. But in the last few years, clearly, as we're all aware, things have happened, and Brexit and COVID really had a pretty dramatic effect on the travel industry. And I decided it was time for a change, something a bit closer to home and perhaps a bit simpler. So I set up, as you said, a business called Experience Hampshire.
Yeah.
So here I am now.
That sounds really good. You started in 2021, did you?
Yeah, last year really was our, the idea came a couple of years ago, actually from a holiday down in Cornwall, with my family, which is a lovely part of the world. Not as nice as Hampshire, of course, but I'm bound to say that. So the concept really was when I went on holiday to Cornwall, like lots of people, I started doing some research about what I could do while I was there for a week. And I struggled a bit. There was the sort of main tourist board website, but there wasn't really a website full of fun and interesting things to do. So when I came back, I started thinking, sort of mapping that into Hampshire and saying, well, is there a website here? And in fact, although there are lots of public sector run websites, Visit Hampshire, Visit Winchester, Visit Romsey, there's nothing really, I don't think, that gets right into the really good fun stuff that's going on. So.
And it's interesting, isn't it, because you made the example to Cornwall. We all know Cornwall as being the place to go for tourism. Definitely. And a lot of us head down there at the summer, me included. But Hampshire, even though I live here and have lived here virtually all my life as well, don't necessarily think of it as a place, a destination place, and it's so wrong, isn't it?
Well, I believe it is, and in fact, I've started engaging a lot with organisations like Visit Britain and Visit England, and actually, I think that's something that others believe as well. That actually Hampshire, although it has so much to offer, isn't up there with Devon and Cornwall and other places. So, I mean, that's maybe an opportunity as well for us to help grow the business and prove that Hampshire is a lovely place to come.
Oh, absolutely.
And it is an incredible place. We're so lucky to have, we've got 240 miles of coastline. We've got the national park, which was voted, as you probably know, best national park by TripAdvisor in Europe, which is amazing.
In Europe? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and number 10 in the world, believe it or not, which maybe is over-egging it a little bit when you compare it with some of the amazing national parks. But hey, we've got the South Downs, and we've got some amazing towns, Winchester right in the centre, Southampton, Portsmouth. So it is I think it's an amazing county.
And could you tell us a bit more about your partners? Because you've got a number of partners or suppliers that you work with. How many do you work with, and how's that relationship sort of get together and work together?
Well, we have now, so we actually launched the website in December last year, so having spent most of last summer building the website, because it's effectively a tech-based business. And then during that time we were building the site, it was our job to go out and discover all these amazing things, which some of which I knew were already there, and other things that I'm discovering, and we're discovering new things every day. So we now have about 85 partners we work with. So we're a third-party platform. We don't run any of our own experiences at the moment, but we promote and advertise other people's experiences. So we find these suppliers who we call partners, and they come on board, and we help market their business.
So in a way, it's going to the website is like a portal to go and find activities and experiences which mean something to you, or family members, or friends, and you think, right, okay, I like that, and then you go through there to get to their website. Is that how it works?
Actually, you book on our website.
Oh, okay.
So there's really, I suppose, two business models when you're setting up a business like this, as effectively an information site. So you can either set up a website and then charge people to be featured on there, and then generally the customer will click through, click on a link, and then go directly through to the supplier's website. We chose to use the other business model, where people actually host their experiences, their activities on our site, and the customer buys those from us on the site. So everything is kept within the site itself, and we take a commission from the supplier for the experiences that we sell. So that's our business model.
Okay. We, as a company, we love brand. Branding is a big key thing for us in creativity. What does the brand mean for Experience Hampshire? How did you describe the brand values and personality of Experience Hampshire?
When we set up the business, or came up with the idea, as you say, it's then the first thing is, right, what are we going to be? You've kind of got the idea, the concept of what you want to do, but then it's presenting that to the customers, and also in our case also to the suppliers. So we're in the middle, really really to instigate a relationship between our suppliers, our partners, and our customers. So it had to appeal on both sides, really. I think our brand is about discovering, or us discovering on behalf of the customer, really, all these experiences, most of which are run by fairly small businesses. So some of our art courses, for instance, are run by one lady, one man, who's beavering away in a studio behind their house, and they're amazingly good at art and teaching art, but they don't have the skill set or the inclination to market themselves very well. So we're going to them and saying, look, we love what you do, and your customers love your courses, but we want to get you out there in front of more customers. So it's coming up with our brand is about trying to showcase this amazing stuff. So in terms of branding, I suppose people tend to think of a logo first, and that's always the challenge, I guess, when you start from scratch, and we, as you do, because that's what you do as a business, spend hours and hours doodling, and you come up with lots of fun ideas, some of which work, some don't, and eventually you settle on a logo, and our logo is effectively an E shape, as in the Experience Hampshire, as a map pin, basically to determine where all these things are in the county. The green is most of our experiences are about natural things. They're all, most of them are fairly low carbon, so we're about earthy experiences. I think a lot of people will know about better known brands like Red Letter Days, for instance, who've been around for 30 years or so, but they're still, lots of their experiences are fairly focused on track days, for instance, at Thruxton, where you're burning round 20 gallons an hour driving a very fast car. And we're trying to sort of shy away a little bit from those kind of experiences. So, we've got wood carving, we've got hedge laying, we've got alpaca walking.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
One of our most popular
Is it?
experiences, alpaca.
I've
Something about
No, there is.
alpaca.
There's some that live near me, and I'm just dying to. Obviously,
Yeah.
I wouldn't get in their field because they'd think that was odd, and I don't know the owners. But I would so love to get to know them.
Yeah, no, alpacas are quite cute things, and so
Yeah.
you can. One of our experiences is meeting the alpacas and taking them for a walk.
Okay.
But,
I like that.
So I think our brand's about earthy kind of stuff, but
Okay.
also a bit fun, a bit inspiring.
And I guess that's who you're trying to attract for more suppliers and partners to be.
Yeah, really. I think we're approaching. Hey, we're not proud. We'll talk to anybody because I think it's quite good to have a
fair enough.
conversation with different people. And sometimes you just feel there's not really a synergy there. It's what they're offering's not quite what we want. But most of the people who contact us now hear about the brand sort of, I think, from our website, the style and the branding, get what we're about, and come to us and say we do this. As an example, we've just got a farm coming on board down in Cadnam on the edge of the New Forest, and we're going to do various things there, sort of farmyard experiences. But one of the quite cool experience, especially for people who love machinery, is driving a tractor. You're actually going to be able to go out and plough a field with Andy, the farmer, and spend some time in his tractor. So
I can see a big comedy moment coming if I ended up in a tractor.
I'll have.
I was going to say that would be me. Oh, that's cool.
I'm not sure it's a Lamborghini tractor like Jeremy has, but
that's great. One of the values at Glow, one of our values, is human and putting people first and be well and well-being. And this is slightly what you're talking about now, I guess. But is there anything that your brand does that puts human first in your organisation, and how you do that, and how you look after your people or your personal values and purpose around people and lifestyle? Then,
well, I think my background has always been in a world of hospitality, as it were. I love people. I love engaging with people, talking to people, and I guess I'm a people pleaser. So I love running a business where we're making memories for people. People aren't buying boring pensions, without being rude to people who sell pensions or double glazing. We're selling aspirational stuff, things that people want to do, and generally that make people feel good about themselves. So, I mentioned hedge laying a couple of minutes ago, the sort of ancient art of where they take a hedge that stands up like that, and then they chop it down, almost cut it totally down, and then lay it, and you see it a lot around the Hampshire countryside, and it's a very ancient art alongside sort of dry stone walling. But to take a group of people out, we've had small groups of corporate clients who've gone out, and rather than spend a day at Newbury races, they've gone out, put their wellies on, raincoat on, and they've learnt with Chris, the hedge layer, an ancient art. They've learnt about nature. They've really engaged. It's proper get your hands dirty kind of stuff. So that's very people type stuff that we're doing, rather than just watching someone else doing something, ride a horse or drive a fast car around a track.
I've got you. And I guess that tapping into a bit of the corporate market is of interest as well then. So exactly that. So people thinking differently, and we are here actually, differently about corporate days out, if you call them corporate days out, team days out, getting out as a bunch of people, enjoying yourself, but doing something different that you wouldn't think of, that isn't involved, as you say, the traditional perhaps.
I think we're all, the world is moving on, and wellness in the workplace is important to us all, both to employers and employees. And I think a lot of what we do is right up that street in terms of really spending some quality time with your team or your customers, as opposed to, I know I keep mentioning racing and things, but for years and years that's been the traditional corporate day out. We have to spend lots of money and take everybody off to a race course or a racetrack or something. Where I think actually people are understanding that going and spending half a day or a day in a farmyard, just doing normal farmyard stuff, actually as a team building exercise is amazing, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback. We ran one the other day where we've got a guy who teaches circus skills.
Right.
So the company had a nice lunch planned in a local hotel to Winchester, and then we provided the circus skills workshop for the afternoon.
Okay.
So they learned to juggle, they learned to walk on a little low tightrope, to mini stilts and things.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot more engagement between people when you're doing something like that potentially than some of the more standard.
I can see that, and I can sense with Lisa, who's helping us today with the videography, sitting behind the camera thinking, she's going to arrange this, isn't she? We're going to be doing this.
I think we need to. I need to give her some ideas, whether it's alpaca walking or hedge laying, or there's just so much stuff. Making ice cream, having an afternoon, the team of you designing an ice cream, making that. I went on one of our beer brewing days with some friends last week or week before. So we spent a whole day in a microbrewery down in Gosport. We designed our own beer from scratch.
Yeah.
So we tasted some beer, of course, because you have to do that first. Came up with a flavour that we collectively liked, and then we worked with the brewer to brew the beer. And then at the end of the day, we've left it, and in fact, we're going back next week to collect it. So we've designed our own brand for the beer, a label, which is going to go on, and next week we go back and we can the beer, and we're going to come away with between us 200 cans of our own beer.
Wow.
But, for somebody who loves beer brewing, that's what an amazing day. And that's perfect for a corporate day out, for something
definitely
a little bit different. And in fact, most of our experiences are less expensive. A day at Newbury Aces can set you back £400 a head by the time you've got everyone there and had lunch and given some people some money to spend on the horses. So actually, a lot of ours are not particularly expensive, and they're a lot, as I say, coming back to being low carbon. They're a bit better on the environment, and I think just give people involved a better opportunity to engage with each other and learn a bit more about your work colleagues outside of work. So.
I'm liking the sound of this. I'm liking it. Roger, you mentioned earlier that you've run a ski company for many years, and this is a new business. How do you think marketing in the future, that this year and ahead, is going to change or has changed? How can you see it differently to promote your business, and what's the difference you see going forward?
Marketing is a massive challenge. It's a dark art. You guys are experts at it, or do your best at it, and I'm sure you're ahead of us because that's your business, branding and marketing. We try absolutely everything, and I think for me, marketing is having a collection of a broad collection of random stuff that you try. We're trying social media, we're trying SEO, pay-per-click, so we're spending some money on that. We've got adverts on the back of buses at the moment, so we've got a couple of buses going around Hampshire. We're doing nearly all the festivals that will have us this year. So we did the Cheese and Chili Festival, we did the Watercress Festival, we're at the Hat Fair in Winchester this weekend. So that's a more sort of customer, facing type of marketing. We're doing our own blogs. Mentioned earlier, we're potentially looking at doing a podcast like this and chatting to people who are involved in tourism locally. So I think one has to approach marketing as it's not one or two little avenues now. It's a broad brush, and it's just a matter of trying these things and trying to assess. But it's very pay-per-click's easy, isn't it? Because you get a report at the end of the week. We've spent this much, and this many people have visited the site. We've got this many bookings. Being at the hat fair, for instance, and increasing our brand awareness is not as easy. It's not nowhere near as tangible. So
No.
I think marketing is a challenge, but if it was easy, we'd all be doing it, or we'd all be on a yacht in the Caribbean spending our hard-earned money if we got marketing down to a T.
No, and I think you're right. It's a challenge, and it's constantly learning, constantly evolving, and constantly trying different things. And you're exactly right with your idea of doing it all at different times, because it taps into different markets, different needs, the way we receive information. There's so much information to obtain, so you need to do all of them. So
I think looking at it as a consumer, we are just bombarded with noise, aren't we? Everybody's trying to sell us stuff, whether it's clothes or cars or holidays or experiences or marketing services. There is just so much noise, and it really is a challenge to get your voice heard. And we believe, like you do, I'm sure in your business, that we have an amazing product, but just because you believe it's not enough, is it? You need to convince others. And
Well, you've been convincing me today, honestly. I have in my head at least 4 experiences that I want to try. This is really interesting, Roger, and I just want to find out for you, that's sort of a key takeaway. So closing today, in a sense, of what key takeaways would you give me and the audience listening today about Experience Hampshire, and what can we remember?
Well, I think we're a great place to go for inspiration, really, for when you're looking for things to do. So we haven't really mentioned our target audience, but our target audience, I suppose, is twofold. It's people like us who live here in Hampshire, who are looking for fun things to do with a partner or with your family when they come and stay, or with nephews, nieces, whatever. So that our website is definitely inspirational in terms of going on, and there's some things I've clearly mentioned today that you might not have thought. If one wants to go alpaca walking, then one Googles alpaca walking in Hampshire. But I think what our brand is aiming to be more about is, as I say, inspirational, in that you want to do something a week Saturday or in 3 weeks' time, but you don't know quite what it is. And our other target audience is people who are coming to stay here in Hampshire. So we have millions of visitors who come here, and I think what we're trying to do is make sure that they don't come to Hampshire and then hear about stuff that they could have done once they got home. Again, we're trying to say, by all means, go to Spinnaker Tower and Winchester Cathedral and Peppa Pig World, which millions of visitors do come here to Peppa Pig World. But there's a lot more to Hampshire than just the mainstream stuff. So.
And I know I was bringing it to close, but I'm just intrigued there about exactly that, the marketing further afield from Hampshire. So is that where you're looking at pay-per-click everywhere? But are you doing any advertising, bus advertising, for example, in Scotland? Or,
we've sort of spun it on its head, really. So we spent a lot of time working out how one markets to people who are coming to stay in Hampshire. And clearly the issue in terms of marketing is those people might be from Swindon or Sweden or America, South America, Australia. It's absolutely massive, and even on pay-per-click, you've got to spend a lot of money trying to access all those markets. So what we've done, we actually worked out very simply that people who are coming to stay in Hampshire are staying in places. So rather than trying to approach the customers before they arrive, well, not before they arrive, but trying to find where those customers are coming from, what we've done is set up an affiliate scheme with accommodation partners. So what we do, and we're working now with loads of hotels in Hampshire and accommodation providers, and we're saying to them, look, we have a platform which we think your guests would love. If you help us promote Experience Hampshire to your customers who we know, as in Experience Hampshire, are the people who are coming to stay in the county, so they're the people who potentially are our customers. If you will help us promote to your guests who are coming to stay in your Airbnb or your hotel, then we'll track them through the site and we'll pay a small affiliate commission back to the accommodation providers. So accommodation providers are adding links about Experience Hampshire onto our site, and they're also emailing their customers saying we're looking forward to seeing you in our hotel in 3 months' time. By the way, if you're looking for stuff to go on to Experience Hampshire, and they've got lots of fun stuff to do. And that's been a really interesting relationship, because actually most accommodation providers, for them, providing a sort of concierge service where they're constantly being asked, what can we do today? You know, it's raining, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? They can almost pass the buck a little bit. And we're trying to market ourselves as a sort of third-party concierge service, I suppose. So that was a long way of answering your question. That gets us access to all these people who are coming to stay in the county.
That's really interesting. So, I like it. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
You.
I hope you've been listening like I have to Roger today. We'll put in the links to follow Experience Hampshire in our social channels. Please do share, like, and if you've got any questions, ask myself or Roger. Thanks very much.